Welcome everybody. Let's mute those who are unmuted. Who I see is unmuted here. Rick. I think Rick. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for gathering. That piece of music was Michael Fitzpatrick and, of course, Kristen Hoffman, and it was composed for last year's Peace Weekend. And seems very appropriate as we gather today to reflect on the passing of someone who's been such an inspiration and a mentor and a light for peace and such a force of creation for the International Day of Peace, around which Peace Weekend is constructed. So it's a great privilege to be gathering here today. I want to welcome Tezekiah Gabriel, Tez, for being with us, and David Wick for joining us, and all the friends that are gathering at this time. Tammy Briggs, I see you with your harp. And wonderful to have you with us, and I hope we get to hear you play. And I know Deborah will be joining us soon, but I wonder, Tez, sorry to throw this to you unannounced. I do want to welcome Dwayne Perry as well. And Dwayne, you'll remember Avon, who was always with us on these Unity Earth calls, the great peace light, who passed last week. Around this time last week, a little later in the evening, your time, she transitioned. So we're gathering today to reflect and remember in joy and in sorrow. And Chief Perry, it's wonderful to have you with us. And I know that there is a great victory that we're celebrating for you. And we'll share some good news around that as we go. Actually, Deborah is joining us. So folks, as we gather in this holy space, in this community, welcome Marty, welcome Pookie, welcome Bob, welcome Linda, welcome Milagros, welcome Jody Ma. It's great to have you back. Welcome everybody, one and all. Welcome Gary Melkin. It's good to see you, your twinkling hands and twinkling eyes. It's great to have you with us. And Peter Blaise Corcoran, who's been absent from class for a little while. It's good to have you back. It's great to be with you. And of course, Rick, who's getting ready. Happy birthday, Rick Allfig.
Thank you.
Yes, we're all looking forward to your party a little bit later on.
Yep.
But Deborah Moldo, I know you've just raced home. Theresa Collins is also with us. Welcome, Theresa. It's wonderful to have you with us for these moments together. And Janice and Richard and Sean and everybody here, Joni, Carly, and Connie and Andrew. And Karuna, wonderful to have you with us, Karuna. I was delighted to hear of your experience, this time last week, and perhaps you'll share a little bit about that. It's so beautiful. Thank you for being with us, Karuna. So, and Peter Melton is here. So it's a true family reunion. Deborah Moldo, are you present?
I am.
Welcome, Deborah. I've asked if Deborah would open our circle today.
Let's see if you can actually see me. There I am. Oh, beloved Unity community. It's been an interesting time since the passing of Avon Mattison, where we've all gotten to absorb her message, virtually her last words on this call, when she spoke about the importance not only of peace, which of course was her entire life's work, but peace through unity. So I suggest that we just all take a moment. If you knew Avon or you've seen the video, just close your eyes and hold her in your heart. Maybe that'll work even if you didn't know her. And let us take a moment to breathe together into our oneness. This week has been the Global Oneness Summit, with many people on this call participating, many of our evolutionary leaders and others. And let's just breathe into the spirit of peace. And not only peace, but peace through unity. We are walking together into a new time. And we have a new definition of peace and a new definition of unity when we consider the glorious diversity of humanity. Avon was working with refugees from different parts of the world, telling them all that they mattered. And we know that every person matters. That is the unity that we express together. We're not the same. Thank God we're not the same, because we each have a different mission. And I'm starting to feel that spirit of peace come into my body. I'm starting to feel the tingling that makes me know that spirit is present. And yes, Avon is present, because she told those refugees that they counted, whether they were here or not. So as we breathe in together all of the magnificence of our community, of the community of peacemakers all over the world, and everyone at the edge of this evolution who believes in the future of humanity, who believes that we can step back from the crises that are coming at us like freight trains. We are at this precipice, and if we step forward, we can fly, but we can only do it together. So let us hold our call this evening in that spirit of Avon, in that spirit of peace. And let us say together, may peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail
on earth. May peace prevail on earth.
Thank you, my beautiful friends. All of you who are so committed. You show up week after week to express our unity and to work together for peace.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. Beautiful. Yeah, we were very blessed in this space week after week after week to have Avon present with us. And I remember on the 6th of October when she spoke, and she started by saying, I don't have much to say. And then she went on to give, well, even at the time, you know, we could feel the presence of the profundity, not a word you'd want to use too often, but you could feel it, of what she was saying was so powerful and so deep, and the space, it just hung in the air. And then when this time last week we were aware that she wasn't here, I was wondering what's happened. I wonder if everything's okay. And then, you know, Tez, you'd sent the message to Dot, and then the message was relayed in here, and in real time we were holding Avon, you know, through those moments. Really extraordinary. And then looking back at her message, she talks about those refugee kids that Deborah mentioned, and saying some of them won't even make it to our next call. Oh, it's interesting and powerful. She says, you know, I knew as a little girl, I would not live to see the fulfillment of my vision, of my mission, and I've lived with that. Do you know? And it strikes me that Avon's last message, there's resonance with the final speech of Martin Luther King, who spoke not knowing he was going to be assassinated so prophetically. And there are elements of Avon's message to us, peace through unity. And not living on earth to see the fulfillment of the message, and some who will die before the next week. There are some aspects of that that are so powerfully prophetic. The way she speaks about the United Nations, the way she speaks about convergence, and uplifts so many. Even with the last message, she's uplifting Humanity Rising and Kurt Johnson and others in the space and the field. She's always serving and uplifting others to the last moment. It's amazing, absolutely beyond extraordinary.
And also the extraordinary privilege that she granted us, that we were able to, in real time, pray her out. And it was completely extraordinary that at the time we were getting these messages from Tez saying that her condition was so serious. And we were all sending her our love and our prayers at those very moments that she was making her transition to the next phase of her service to humanity. What a privilege she granted to us here at Unity.
Beautiful, Deborah. So Tez, it's so wonderful to have you with us. I know it's a deeply tender time for you as such a dear close friend and partner with Avon. We really appreciate you being here. I know you have limited time, but we'd love to hear from you anything you're on your heart to share.
And let's hope I can speak. I am just so grateful. I am so grateful for all of you and your partnership, your collaboration, your lifting up, your support has really lifted Avon in doing what she needed to do and what her purpose was in our world. And I know that she loved every single one of you dearly and completely, honored you, and knew that this group was extraordinary in fulfilling that message, that action, that vision of peace. And so I want you to all know that she is still guiding us and has been very present in the next steps. She is in her glory, and she asks us to not tarry too long in our grief, but to get on with the work of bringing peace to our world. And so it's just such a privilege to be the recipient of so many of your prayers, your messages of support, your reflections and your memories of Avon. This is a tender time that we collectively share. And so, again, I will just leave with, as Avon would have me say, you are a pathway to peace. And let's make Peace Day every day and get on with the work. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Tez. What a beautiful message. Well, thank you. Maybe let's just hold for a few moments to let that sink in. Thank you, Tez. And David Wick from Pathways to Peace, a long-time beloved friend and collaborator for Avon and so many. Thank you, David, for being with us, and we'd love to invite you to share.
Well, thank you. Truly, this is It's a very special and important time with this transition of Avon. And as Hezekiah just mentioned, I just want to acknowledge it too, that Ben, you and John and this community provided Avon the opportunity, particularly in the last 2 to 3 months, to come forward in a way that she hasn't for quite a while, to be able to be present, to be able to really express herself, and to be honored. I will say that I had spoken to Hezekiah and was just saying, I am so grateful over the last couple of months, the honoring and acknowledging of Avon and the deep guidance and deep work she's given all her life. And that acknowledgement, and also acknowledgement of pathways, it was just exquisite, beautiful. And it's also, that it happened. And I didn't know she was going to pass this soon, but I really said that she had that acknowledgement before she did leave. And it is really an incredible journey. I've been with Avon for 40 years, walking the pathways to peace, and the many different ways that it has shown up. I've been a pioneer in many ways, but Avon is what you heard on that recording. That's pure Avon. That's her weaving spirit and deep knowledge and wisdom with what is needed now, with the guidance that she could bring and the inspiration. And it is ours to continue. We're all on this path together. And thank goodness, I feel like with her passing, the energetic has just expanded tremendously. And we're all moved and all touched. And we will continue. But how we do it is how do we do it wisely? How do we do it to the best that we have to offer? And this acknowledgement of Avon is really a fulfillment, a big fulfillment. And we will see as we evolve the contributions we will make to peace building in our world. And unity is absolutely at the heart of that. So I'm very delighted and humbled to be with you. Thank you.
Oh, powerful, brother. Thank you, David. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing that. Let's give David's remarks a few moments to settle. Yeah, and you've both spoken to the truth that Avon's presence is stronger than ever already, and the peace work is being empowered in a way that you could feel the sort of thrust in this space. And I was very privileged, deeply privileged to take that journey, David, you spoke about in the last few months, building up to Peace Weekend this year and a program we did together, and with Avon, as the keynote of that beautiful event, and got to learn more about her story. And then along the way, out of a conversation with Chris Decker, this idea of turning Peace Weekend next year into Peace Week emerged, and Avon was its greatest supporter and fan. She was giddy with enthusiasm in a way. She loved it. Of course, Peace Week goes right back to the early 80s when Pathways to Peace was commemorating in the early days. And because the International Day of Peace is a Wednesday next year, so she was so incredibly excited and supportive of it, and was, Chris and I both wanted to ask her to be the patron. Of course, she said, yes, of course. And yesterday, I just want to share this and then we'll move on. Yesterday, this graphic was created, and I just want to spend a few moments showing it to you. This will be the icon for Peace Week. It is a reworking of the Holy Land Living Water dove. And just look closely at what you see in there. I don't know if Ayana meant to do it, but if you look in the center, you'll see Martin Luther King looking into Avon's eyes with a beautiful photo. I think Deborah Moldo, is that your photo? We probably used it without permission, but there it is. That was just that first draft came through yesterday, so I wanted to presence that with Avon there in the dove. Feels very alive, very powerful.
Gorgeous.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. You'll be seeing a lot of it. Fumi, welcome, welcome. Wonderful to have you with us. Thank you for joining. And we're going to come to you in a moment, Fumi. I do want to invite Karuna to share. This time last week, you were having experiences. If there's anything you'd like to share in this space, I'd love to have you come in, Karuna. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you, beloved Ben. I just, I'm so blessed to sit with all of you again. And yes, I recognized about 3 months ago, Ben, when you were really highlighting Avon and inviting her into, she was, you know, she's so soft spoken to all of us that I reached out to Avon a few times, just 2 or 3, to speak personally with her on a level of devotion. And the last time I called her most recently was when I was asked to speak about devotion. And it was like I wanted Avon to give me permission to speak about devotion. And so she called me back and she said, Karuna, you are devotion. I can't speak anymore about devotion. And I said, no, Avon, you are devotion and peace. And I just, want to embody that it's okay that I do speak with this most reverence, tone and love about devotion and how much it means to me. And I wanted your permission. And it was as if she humbly just bowed her head and said, you carry that torch. And it felt so relative to everything that she offers us in her conversations, in her video we received today from last week's. It's just so reverent and so much humble heart that we must all bow to our knees and pray in any such way that we can carry that torch of her stillness, her kindness, her compassion, to be able to understand that what we do say out there in this world has such a deep place for everyone to acknowledge, also by being a peacekeeper and saying that every one of our steps counts, and where we're going to take it today with unity and peace and courage. She gave me courage to speak about devotion and peace. And it was just so humbling when I sat with the full moon this morning, and her face was in that moon. And it's as if, like you're all saying, she is so coming forth in such a louder voice that we actually got to really hear really strongly without devotional listening. And so I ask all of us to sit in stillness more and more and more to really find out what it is she wants us to be courageous enough to step into and offer to each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, I miss her. I already miss her tenderly, childlike around the idea of, this moment of all of us together, and I'm honored I got to share that story with you all. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful, Karuna. Thank you. Let's take a moment to honor that query. Avon was so incredibly supportive, so encouraging, so uplifting, so seeing people and their mission and their holiness. I know, Marty, it had a big impact on you. It had a big impact on me. It had a big impact on everybody here. That Avon could see us and believed in us and believed that we were on, that we were called. That was enough. Sometimes just to be believed and be seen. It's so powerful. What a great modeling for all of us. I know, David, you had one more thing you wanted to, and then we'll come to Fumi-san. David.
Oh, yes. So I just prior to our call, I was talking with Dot Maver, and who's not able to be here. And so she sends her loving greetings to everyone. And she told me that it had come to her, and it was very clear that at the moment of Avon's passing, of her crossing over, that her sun was in Aries, was the exact opposite of the sun in Libra, and that Uranus was the exact moment in her rising sign, which was a conscious moment of release. So those who understand that more than I, but she was just saying it was a conscious step with the alignments that she left.
Interesting. Interesting. She actually talks about Libra in that final message. She mentions Libra. Maybe go and look at that with a new layer of meaning. Thank you, David. Yes, definitely mystical. And even getting ready for the Saturday Night Alive show that she was on with other peacemakers around Peace Weekend and the International Day of Peace, there was such a mystical field around it with the Sufi music and the spirit, Jonathan Granoff's Sufi spirit, and Deborah Moldo, and there was something in the field around, and because Avon was being lifted up, there was a mystical dimension. It was unmissable in the creation, how it came together and who came onto the program. It was profound. So there's definitely that mystical field around this personality, which is palpable. Fumi, how are you doing, Fumi?
Well, I don't know if I can speak now without getting teary, when I think about Avon. But that's true with all of us, David, Tez, Deborah. You've known her for decades. Rick, I'm sure many of you have known her for decades. And it's really hard to say in words what a person's life of devotion was like. We just feel it deeply. But I just, there's part of me that mourns her loss. I mourn the loss. But then of course, I know that to me, she ascended. And she ascended in a way that she lifted all of us at the same time. And that I really feel that, she was here as an angel. I mean, she really was. She never, ever talked about herself have you? She never did. She always wanted to know how you were doing, how you were doing, how is your work? And I would say, I would try to turn it around and say, well, Avon, how are you doing? Or, you know, because I know she wasn't feeling well. She had physical challenges, but she would always turn it around and make it about you. And that was just her gift to everyone that spoke to her. She wanted to make you the center of the stage. She wanted to make you shine. She wanted to honor you as a divine being. And I think, you know, because I met her when we were still trying to organize or incorporate May Peace Prevail on Earth International. Back then it was World Peace Prayer Society. Before World Peace Prayer Society, we were called the Society of Prayer for World Peace. She experienced all those stages even before we were incorporated. Just, you know, holding our hand, encouraging us, helping us along the way. And I really feel that she was a godmother of our movement. And I feel that she was godmother to so many of us individually and also as organizations. And she helped, I mean, and I can't even imagine what her network was like, because we will never know. She never talked about who she was helping, how she was helping, but she was all the time. Individuals and organizations, especially organizations at the initial stage and getting it off the ground. She was there for so many nonprofits, so many people. So we can't fathom the legacy she left with so many people. But I think when she ascended, we all really did ascend with her. I feel that deeply, and I don't know if I'm done with the mourning. I try to be a little step back because I don't want to, you know, feel the pain of the loss, because I think, you know, she's an angel, she's working, she's close to us, we feel her, but you know, I will miss her like crazy, miss her so much. So, you know, there's so much more I can say, but I think she taught me the word, when I first heard her speak about peace building, I had no idea what peace building was. You know, but in the early 80s, peace building. She was all about peace building. And it was like, now we talk about peace building and peace, you know, in like it becomes we align with that word so much, but in the initial, you know, my friendship with her, she really taught me about what peace building was. So that was really a gift, and I could, you know, say so much more, but I know there's many of you to listen to, and we all have our wonderful, beautiful connection with Avon. And I like to picture her smiling, and I see, you know, she loved the color turquoise. She really loved, you know, blues and turquoise, and you know, her pink scarf, and you know, wrapped around her neck and flowing, and she was always very graceful and very dignified. So I see her ascending in her turquoise blue long dress, and her hair free and flowing, and even with a white veil on, you know. So that's how I'd like to picture Avon, that she's looking down on us and being the peace angel that she is. So thank you, Ben, for allowing me to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Fumi, godmother of our movement. I think you really hit a chord with that. godmother of our movement. That is magnificent. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Fumi. Let's throw to the birthday boy who's there ready to DJ the party later. It isn't this life, Rick, you know, the joy, the sorrow, the loss, the beauty, the grace, it's all rolled into one human experience. You've known Avon for a long time. Happy birthday. It'd be great to hear from you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And as each person was talking, I was thinking about my time with Avon as well. And, you know, I'm at the party that I'm going to have like at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to say a few words and open it up if anybody wants to say anything at that point as well. But I just want to say that especially what you were just saying there, Fumi, is so true. She was so supportive of each organization. And when We the World was starting, she was very supportive too. And that was at the late 90s, 98, 99, and the turn of the century in the millennium. We were collaborating quite a bit with her Culture of Peace initiative. And we're doing all of those different things that she was doing. And she really was kind of like a role model for me in terms of organizing and consciousness and all of that. So it was just so wonderful to know and work with Avon over the years. And it's true, she never would talk about herself. It was always, you know, what are you doing? And supporting what other people were doing. And I would try to do that too. I'd always try to turn it around and thank her for what she was doing and give her some support too. Because sometimes the organizers need that support, and she was the ultimate organizer, right? So it's a sad moment, and I think her work is going to live far beyond her passing through the work of all of us who were touched by her. So thank you, Avon. And I'm sure you are somewhere on one of these pages on this Zoom call watching us now and part of it. So thank you, Avon. And certainly people are invited to the birthday. Should I kind of segue into the plans for the birthday party, Ben? Or do you want to hear from other people on Avon first, or?
Well, let's just say, Rick, that we'll put the link in there, and maybe we'll do a plans for the birthday perhaps a little later on, if that's okay. And we'll just make sure everyone knows it's 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll put the link in there. And
It was made so that people can go directly from this call to that. And there's going to be some surprise music, including Dr. Marty and I doing a Zoom duet.
Ooh. Well, let's talk a little more about the birthday later. Let's save those exciting surprises. Thank you.
Okay,
Rick.
that sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Tammy, hi, Tammy. This harp looks very promising. Is it? Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to be in community, and what an honor to be with you all. Would you like for me to play, Ben?
Yeah, I think that would be wonderful, Tammy. I want to just welcome Nina Meinhof. Nina, welcome. Wonderful to have you with us, and we'll hear from you after. Let's have some harp music. I feel particularly with all this reference of Angel Avon ascending, I think some harp music would be most appropriate.
So this whole thing came up very spontaneous, literally about 5 minutes before this started. Taz was kind enough to email me and say this was happening. and I didn't know if you would ask me to play, but if you did, what I would like to share with you is a song that's called Peace Blessing. And this is a song that the first time that Avon ever heard me play, this is the song that I played. And after I played it, she had quite an experience with this song, and she said, I don't want to take our Zoom time, but I'll call you later. And she did call me. And after I share the song, I'll just share a couple things that she said about this piece of music. So I believe that Avon is very much with us and coming through me now as I play this. Peace, blessing. So after I played that for our archives committee and Avon was talking to me, she said, I envisioned this column of gold light coming in, and from that column of gold light, the energy dispersed into past, present, and future. And it was all about the angelic realms of transformation and bringing in the frequency and the vibrations and the resonance of peace from the perspective of music that she had envisioned as a 4-year-old little child. And I knew when she told me that she was really, really something special, because she got it. She got the vibrations of music that was a very rare find. And that happened on March 26th of this year. And so I only was experienced with her for that very short time. And I feel ripped off because I would have loved to have had 40 years with her. But I'm so, so grateful I had every single day that I had with her. And she, just what everybody else has been saying, she just was always about, the other person. It was never about her. She just honored, I think, each and every one of us in such a beautiful and unique way. And her spirit will live through all of us for the rest of our days. So thank you for letting me play, and such a blessing to be with you all today. I really value being in a loving community like this. So thank you so much for letting me be here.
Oh, Tammy, thank you. Thank you for bringing your gift. Exquisite. And please come again, come frequently, welcome. And we hope to see you again. It was amazing when you talk about even being able to understand and see the music that's so rare, is so rare. My experience of that, which is similar, was, and I mentioned it before, but was with the story, the Mungo story that my mother and father and family are initiated into, sung into, probably is the best way to say it. But Avon got it deeply, profoundly, quickly, in a way that's rare, very, very rare. That's amazing. Thank you, Tammy. That's really beautiful what you shared, and we hope to see you again. Stay with us. I know we want to honor every intention here. Gary, firstly, Gary, it's great to see you. I know you've been on a big journey and you need to go soon, but just for a couple of minutes, did you want to share what's in your heart about Avon?
Oh my God. David and I knew each other when I was a freshman in college because I was roommates with his brother-in-law. And so David and I have been on a journey since 1970. So David, of course, introduced me to the work that he had been doing with Pathways to Peace way, way, way long ago. And ever since I had the great pleasure of having David introduce me to Avon, David, you brought an angel into my life. I could just hear the quality. Gary, like the way she talked with her voice, it was music in her voice, And I want to echo what Tammy said. She loved music so much. She understood the language of music as the language of peace, the language of coherence, the language of the human, universal language of the heart, And so I was said in the text right here, there aren't many people in the world that supported and loved my music and what I was doing with music as a peace builder and a healer of hearts. From the very beginning, there was no one like Avon who was there for me. In fact, I remember she's the one that called me during the launch we did at Grace Cathedral, the Caravan to Unity. She's the one that called, Gary, Jyoti, she's in the cathedral. She's the one that made the connection to let me finally meet Jyoti after 20 years of having her on the Graceful Passages CD. So just thank you for giving me an opportunity. I've missed you all so much. I've been looking from afar and feeling like I want to come back into the fold. I've never left you, but I have left in terms of being an activist. So please know that I'm coming back. I've been working on this musical around the miracle of life, but I just thank you, Ben, for letting me speak, because Avon I get teary just thinking about her, and I'm just so grateful that I knew her. David, I love you, and thank you for bringing her into my life so long ago. Thank you, Ben.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Gary. And thank you for reminding me of the Avon's role in the caravan and connection to Jyoti and you and Fumi and everything. So blessed moments. Before you go, Gary, we need to speak at some point. The 21st of December, we are doing a program of intercultural grief and mourning, the suffering of the last 2 years. It's called The Longest Night. And we need someone who's a musical genius who has a special appetite for suffering and grief. And,
Well, that's a strange way to put it. Well, you know that I've been trying to concoct a day of remembrance for the global grieving crisis on the planet.
Yeah.
So you have to let me play a significant role because that's my heart and
Yes.
soul. So thank you for mentioning it.
Called The
Thank you.
Longest Night. And we'll be in touch.
I'm so grateful you told me about it, and we'll talk about it. Thank you.
Pathways to Peace are holding a memorial service. Tez, did you want to? I know you've got to go, Tez, in a moment. I've just put in the chat there, December the 8th, a celebration of life memorial service for Avon, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Zoom details are there. Tez, anything you wanted to say as I know you must depart?
It's just going to be the most amazing celebration of life ever. And we have plans. Many of you will be engaged other than participating. And you'll be hearing more from us about the details as we go along. December 8th is special because it is the anniversary of Pathways to Peace. So Avon really loves that. And so we're going to, it's an event that's going to be to not only memorialize Avon and lift up her life and celebrate it, but a celebration as she would have it of honoring and lifting all of us.
Magnificent. Put that in your calendars. Thank you, Tammy. I hope we see you again, Tammy. We're on this same Zoom link every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so please come back again.
I will. I promise. Peace and blessings, everyone.
And Tez, thank you so much for being with us, and David for being with us. I'm not sure if David, if you can stay or if you must go, but just it was so appropriate and meaningful and right to have you here in the center of this circle today, Tez and David. So just deep, deep gratitude and blessings to you.
And thank you so much for the special invitation. Of course, you can imagine that the outpouring of love from around the world, we've been very busy and may have missed it. And so thank you for the special invitation, because we shouldn't have missed it. And while I have to go and attend to another meeting, I'm hoping to get back for Rick's very important celebration. Rick, I can't think of anyone I'd rather be celebrating with tonight than you. So just thank you, all of you. I'm just lifted by your thoughts, your prayers, and your spoken words. Thank you.
Much love, Tez. Much love surrounding you. We'll be there on December the 8th. Yes. So I know there was a hand up, but let's, if that we're going to come. Yes, Nina, and then we want to hear from Jyoti Ma. So Nina, wonderful to have you with us. Hello.
Hello, and thank you. You know, it's been, excuse me, an amazing process for me to reflect on Avon's life, because we were intertwined, I say, beginning in the 70s, and traveled together, worked together, daydreamed together about the work that we each had to do and how to combine it. You know, and we had events in Switzerland and in Vienna and in Brazil and all over the place where we were really advocating for young people having a voice and making a difference, plus the International Day of Peace. But what's so amazing to me, yeah, and so many meetings at the UN, etc., but beautiful. And everybody has said these words, but I'm sort of putting together the picture, and what I see, you know, is that she was soul and she committed herself so fully, like every step had meaning. And that here towards the end, she got the recognition. I mean, how beautiful to be still alive and for people to acknowledge her, and how she was always a background figure. She never chose to be up front. And there she was shining in the light, and she accepted it this time. I mean, she mainly would push accolades away, you know, because she was just focused on the work. And then to have her she left me a message a few days before her passing and her transitioning. And I just felt like she was weaving all the projects together and making sure that she was holding them. And now I feel like she's above me like the angel, with Son of Kamara and the great ones, and that she's pointing down to the different projects and figuring out where to put all her energy. And she's begun to, open her wings and do much more powerful work than she's ever done before. And I keep saying in my mind, get some rest, get some rest. But that's not her specialty, to get some rest. Anyway, she's the beginning of a changing of a guard in a way, and that there's new energies, and that we have to work from above and below. We have to work from earth and from the heavens and bring it all together so that the momentum is, it creates a ball of fire that will change this world. Thank you. That's a blessing. I'm so pleased. Thank you. And I love you, Avon, and I'm grateful for all you've done and all you will do and who you are. She's a great soul. Yeah, a great soul.
Mm. Thank you, Nina. Thank you for being with us with that beautiful light and love and glorious appreciation and recognition of Avon, who she was. And yeah, she was all about changing the course of history. She was pretty clear about that. She wasn't holding back about what the mission was. And my experience of her over the last 3 months, she wasn't that happy about stepping into the limelight. It wasn't something. It was kind of like pulling teeth, trying to get her to do that. It wasn't, in my experience, wasn't an easy process, but she kind of knew that she sort of had to, so she did it. But yeah, thank you for presencing that. Absolutely glorious. Jyoti Ma, thank you so much for being with us. I know you've been on global journeys and doing so much extraordinary work with the Fountain and the Mother Earth delegation, but so delightful to have you with us today on this reflection of Avon.
Oh, I'm really humbled that you give me a moment here. I'm thinking back about when Avon and Fumi called me, and I was evacuated from my home because of the fires, and the pandemic had already arrived and settled down on everything. And they wanted me to come to Caravan of Peace and do an opening prayer there. And it was the first time that I had come out of my home to do something public like that. There were very few of us there. And I was excited to see these beautiful women, and they were so inspiring. And I was so humbled that they had thought about me this way. And I remember that prayer opened itself with a recognition of King. So it was very interesting that upon this peace, bird of peace, that you have these two figures coming together in this way, this very strong masculine and feminine principle, literally principle, that walked amongst us in such humble and amazing and strong and always present ways. So I just want to say to you, Avon, as you're listening, I know that you cared a lot about this planet, about this universe. You cared a lot about life and all those that care for life. And you had a lot of care for the original people. And so I found it very interesting that I just was on my way leaving Gabon, Africa, having gone to a village of the Bawiti people to go through 10 days of initiation with them in their village, which they called the Source. And they sent me home with a message, which I want to speak about because it has Avon's taste and touch upon it. They said it was time for us to raise everything up that the shadow had revealed in these last years into the harmonic frequency that would heal so we could all unite. We are united. And they ignited us inside the new dawn. They lit us up inside of the new dawn. And that, as the Bawidi sang their songs and brought this beautiful, humbling ceremony through these 10 days, I was humbled by it and so full of gratitude that my path had taken me there to these people with such clean hearts. And they were just beings of light. They were just beings of light. And now I'm on my way with all of that stirring into the Yucatan to bring the Mother Earth delegation. And we are just opened our doors to receive 6 new delegates from the South. So it is a moment of unification. It is a moment of humility. It is a moment where peace will be born out of our humility. And so as I listened to Avon's words this morning, I was struck by her clarity and the passion that laced everything, sewed it together, and brought it forward into all of our lives and our work and our world. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I had this time, very short time. And like Gary said, she set up the meeting so he and I could come together because we had talked on the phone and done all kinds of things together to bring this project forward, but we had never got to be in person. And I got to sit inside the chapel there and listen to the music as it resonated through the sacred space. So thank you for giving me a few moments to reflect upon her and her life and how she was so profound in the way she touched so many of us. And I've been feeling like every voice that I've shared here has been like one of those chords on the harp that, as Avon played us today, through each of those chords in her harp, we began to hear some of the orchestration of life that she conducted. So thank you.
Oh. That is so beautiful, Jyotima. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing and from that message and those beautiful chords of harmonic truth. And Grace Cathedral, that event that you opened in prayer, Jyotima, and that, when we go back, they see there's pictures here that Linda wants to show. Let me spotlight that. This is the Caravan of Unity at Grace Cathedral. Linda, is it?
Yeah.
Fumi, and yeah, amazing. Look at that. Jyoti and Fumi and standing there with the flags and the flags of one family. That is absolutely divine. Look at that. It's even got a dog. Perfect. And of course, the 1981, 1982, the celebrations of the International Day of Peace, for 1984, I think in particular, was central to Avon's, beating the drum for the celebration of the International Day of Peace. Is there anything, Linda, while your beauty is here, is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh, me.
Yes, you, Linda.
Yes. I'm not sure that I have any words. I do appreciate getting the transcript because I both heard the video and I remembered being there that Wednesday night on the 6th. But I've spent some time with the transcript and it's working in me. Mm. And I also believe that there's going to be some way that the wings will be the flags of one family, or the wings of the heart will be a part of that celebration on the 8th. And I don't know who to connect with about that, but let's see what can happen. and possibly even on the 21st.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. Well, that intention is firmly planted. And for Peace Week next year, the flags of one family need to play a critical role. Wonderful.
Yes,
Thank
the
you,
more
Linda.
people that can fly them either in person or behind them in their Zoom windows. It's time for them to fly. Look at this, Fumi.
Fumi has them. And Jyoti,
Yes.
just before you go, Jyoti, if you have a few more minutes. Yes, it's time for them to fly. You can see the flags flying. I know there's flags. Becky's got them. Fumi's got them. Marty's got them. They're spreading all over the world. But thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for that. And that intention is firmly planted. I do want to ask if Chief Perry would share just a few moments, because there was a significant victory, and Avon's spirit is all about going forward and claiming these victories, changing the course of history, and she would be delighted and thrilled about the news, Chief Perry, of your victory recently, and anything else you'd like to share. I'll put a link to the news article in the chat here that Linda Bjork had sent me. But we'd love to hear from you, Chief Perry, if just particularly before Jyoti Ma must depart.
Well, thank you. We've been successful in having the mountain return, which is really a major gift for the tribal people, because we truly are looking at quiet genocide, and it appears to be the very first step of returning to some viability. But I'd like to mention a few things about Avon. As we were talking, it finally come to me. First of all, I was astonished that someone so vibrant and full of life suddenly had crossed over it. So I can empathize with all of you that have known her for many, many years. And this listing just brought how vital our personal loss was. But last week, I seen something that was turquoise blue, and I was sort of drawn to it, and I bought it. And believe it or not, today, in between the many Zoom calls, of which I have one at 8, I had to run out and buy something that was, again, turquoise blue. And I heard someone say that was her favorite color. And I guess that was her connection with sort of a new person in her life to say, hi, take it easy, we're winning. So I just like to thank all of you. And as many of you said, keep on keeping on. And I know she'll bring us all joy. Sheik.
Oh, thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you for blessing us and being with us and sharing that beautiful story. Yeah, that's exactly how she would talk to you, by getting a turquoise clothing, I'm sure. I put a link to this news article about the victory that the Ramapola Nape have had under the visionary leadership of Chief Perry. Let's celebrate the victories as they come. Let's embrace them. Let's empower them. Let's be delighted by each other's great step forwards, because they belong to all of us. And Chief Perry, you're so deserving of this, and this is just the beginning.
Let me make one more request,
Please.
Ben. We've been able to finally begin to get the women's desk off the ground, but in the course of that, we've had some requests about Australia, and I was wondering if you and I at some point in the near future could look at developing a closer relationship with the Mongo people. And I'll leave that for a different time, but please hold it in the back of your head.
Yes. In particular, women? Is a particular focus on women?
I think what we're looking at is, it could be the chief. The elder that was there before would be a good start.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Definitely. Let's follow up.
Yeah, we're going to be doing, I don't want to take up any time, but we're going to be doing the opening of this portal. And I think it would be important maybe to have some of those folks present, or at least where they're at being present.
Yes. And I'm sure Janice Hall's ears are up as well. And we'll be finding, beautiful people from this continent to support with that. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Chief Perry. Thank you, Jyoti Ma, for staying with us a little longer. I wanted you to hear the victory of the Ramapola Nape, and thank you for being with us, Jyoti, and blessings on everything you're doing. Yeah, much love. I had a good catch up with Mindahi, Brother Mindahi, last week, and yeah, good things are coming. Good things are here.
Thank you for your work, and thank you, Chief, for yours. Blessings, blessings to you all.
As we go around in, Marty even touched so many people, and, we've heard about how she empowered particularly organizations that were at a certain stage of development. And I know she was a great supporter of you and inspiration for you. We'd love to hear from you, Marty.
Wow, I'm not going to take up too much time. I've just been like a sponge because just not knowing Avon a long time. But what I've realized is that you don't have to know someone for a long time, but it is important that we impact them and that lasts forever. And that is exactly how she came into my world, my life. As soon as everything took place last Wednesday, I immediately went back to voice messages and text messages and emails. And I'm like, wow, from day one, she's just been supporting. And one of the emails that I had, she sent on 5/25/21, which is the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd's death. And she said, what you are offering and teaching through Ungun is so unique and important. Sending love on this important day, Avon. And that meant so much to me, that particular one, even, and the other, she was talking about Ungun in general, but for her to send that to me on the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd, to know that even like I was someone she was thinking about in that moment, meant a lot to me, because George Floyd's death represents so much of what we're dealing with every day. We just happen to put a face and a name to a situation that's been ongoing for many, many years. And then when I think of Avon, she represents the peace that we are also fighting for. And so I don't think that I will ever be able to use the word peace and not think of her and see her. Just like I can't think of racism and not see George Floyd. And it was very clear to me in that moment when I saw that email that that's exactly who she is and what she represents. And so it was a reminder to me that I have a lot of work to do, and she's dependent on me to do it. And I think she's somewhere watching and looking and making sure that we're going to get it done. And I am going to show up everywhere that I possibly can. And when I hear the word peace, I will think of what Fumi said today, our godmother of peace, Avon Mattison. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, Marty. The godmother of peace. Yes, so dubbed here by Fumi and all of us. Peter Melton, brother, of course, you were so central to the Grace Cathedral kickoff and everything that happened on that Caravan of Unity. But you've known Avon for 15 years. It's wonderful to have you with us, Peter. Is there anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, thank you. This is what I put in the note there. David Wick and I have known each other for a long time from our days in Ashland, and he connected me with Avon way back. And it was like from the very first phone call, she was just like totally there, right? And totally like, I get you. I want to support you. I not want to support you. I am supporting you in every way possible. And I just remember the feeling of just being, oh my God, this is like one of the top people in the whole peace world, and she's just instantly on board with the projects, and just connecting with her over the years. Just what everybody's saying, but it resonates with everyone in their own personal way, and it hits deep with me to get to honor her and celebrate her in this community with so many people that have known her for so long. And just good to know you, sweet Avon. Good to know you. Peace through unity. Yeah.
Love you, Peter. Yeah, beautiful. Peace through unity. It's a beautiful works, Peter. It's good. So, Sister Becky, there's another victory of a kind that's happened recently to a kind of a traumatic experience that has led to a release. Tell us about Adam, Shield of the Feather.
So our brother Adam, Shield of the Feather, we all have been praying and holding space for him the last couple of weeks as he was arrested in Egypt and being held. I knew last week when we briefly spoke about him during the call as we were holding Avon in our hearts, that when Avon passed, that it would be not long before she was involved in his release. And so I'm so grateful to say that he is now back in the United States, safely, sound. He was released a couple of days ago, and Customs took him and brought him straight to a plane so he could fly back to the United States. And he sent a message saying that he needed to receive the medicine that he received, that he will be sharing with us what he learned in his trip that was very troubling. But he sends so much gratitude, and thank you all so much for your prayers, for writing to the senators, and just so much gratitude to everybody. And to Avon, the morning that I learned that she had really transitioned, my son, he's heard our calls. My son is 12 and he very rarely comes on screen, but he said how sorry he was because he'd heard me talk about Avon. And he said, well, you know, what is it like now? And I said, you know how when you're playing a video game and you get some kind of vitamin comes across the screen and you munch on it and then somehow it gives you superpowers? I said, I feel like that's what's happened to all of us within this movement of love, unity, and peace. Like we have just been blessed with our angel, our godmother, with this vitamin that has fortified and just really added even more to our collective light. I love that Linda shared that Avon is Nova backwards, and many of us had never noticed that. That's incredible. And so the starlight that she is, that is part of our light, will continue to shine on in each of us. And being able to explain that to my 12-year-old son felt like such an incredible gift as we all continue to learn about what a person's life means to us after they have gone on to the other side. So thank you. Thank you for inviting me to share, Ben. Love you all. You're muted, Ben.
I was just saying, beautiful, beautiful Becky. Brother John Raymer's here. Hello, brother. Good to see you. We missed you. But it's good to see you, John. We've just had a beautiful reflection on just profound from David and Tez and Fumi and Jyoti and Gary and so many incredible, lifelong friends, and such a blessing. It's good to see you, brother. How's your travels?
Good. I got a cold. I was sleeping when the call started.
Well, we're sending you love.
So far, I don't have COVID, but I do have a cold. So anyway,
sending you love, John. Thank you for jumping in. We're winding down, and we want to give a little bit of a breath before the great celebration of the We the World party with the birthday man, Rick Ulfix, starting in 30 minutes or so. But I did want to just, if there's anybody, we still have time. If there's anybody who would like to share, Bob or Linda Bjork or Mum or Janice or Sean or anyone, Connie, Pookie, Peter Blaze, Bonnie, Noel, Amanda, if there's anyone who would like to share or feels in their heart to say something, please do. Janice.
Well, I said it in the chat, but I'll just repeat it out loud because it was so extraordinary to me. I didn't know Avon well, but I met her years ago at the UN. And every once in a while on these calls, she would send me a private message of encouragement, particularly about my work with Indigenous people and how she was like cheering me on as she did for everyone else. And she sent me a couple of private emails about some things that she had done with Native peoples that she said she didn't share very often because she didn't feel, it was almost like she was saying she didn't want to brag about it, but she felt honored and to be involved in their understanding of the world. And so that evening, as I was going off to sleep, I always tend to look at my phone. I often get messages from Australia right before I go off to sleep. And out of the clear blue, a picture of Avon showed up on my phone as clear, that picture that's on her Facebook page and that you see everywhere with the blue on, and it just popped up on my phone for no apparent reason. And I don't know from whence it came. So I popped it on my, my story on Facebook. And then I had this just profound dream all night long. And in my dream, I was walking around telling everybody about this remarkable lady that was bringing peace to earth, and everybody should know about her. If they didn't know about her, they should look her up because she's not done yet, but she will be working much more diligently from the other side. But it was like a busy night's sleep of me going around telling everybody, it's a shame you didn't get to meet this lady, but you'll feel her presence because the world has changed as a result of her being here. So she touched my life in such an amazing way, even though I didn't know her well, as she seems to have done with so many.
Thank you, Janice. You know, and you can see why people, growing up in the Catholic Church, you can see why they canonize people, you know, in moments like this and these appearances. And, you know, she appeared to Karuna, and Kurt shared that with people, and she's showing up to you, Janice. She's getting Dwayne, she's getting Chief Perry out shopping and getting turquoise stuff. I mean, she's showing up all over the place. And it's just, what a testimony, what a power. That life goes beyond this, you know, this material container so powerfully. Does anyone else? Mom, and then Rick, and then Richard.
Yeah, I just have to go, Ben.
Okay.
I have to start my Zoom on the half hour for that.
Oh, on the half hour. Is there anything you want to say, Rick, about the birthday party? I know we'll put the link in the chat here again.
Sure, I'll put the link in now.
I got it ready to go.
Oh, okay, good. And you can put it in again. I just put something. But just everybody's invited. And like I said, Dr. Marty and I are going to do a Zoom premiere. Actually, and it will be in honor of the tributes. Because remember, my brother also passed exactly a year ago. So I'm going to do a little thing about him, and then also a little thing about Avon, and then so we have it's going to be then we're going to kind of make a segue to having a festive time together with the celebrating and that kind of thing. And I'm also going to do a premiere with something that we call the 3-Note Challenge. And that's going to be a mystery. It's a musical challenge, the 3-Note Challenge. And we're going to do that in about 45 minutes after the start. And Pookie, if you want to join us at the start, that would be great too. You know, around the time when Dr. Marty and I are doing our thing. If you'd like to, you know, you're invited, but everybody's invited. So I think that's about it. Was there anything else? Oh yeah, Deborah, I don't know if you're coming, but if you want to do a little a cappella singing, because you have such an incredible voice.
I don't know about that, but I'll be there to celebrate you.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. If you're moved to do that, I think everybody would love that. But so it's going to be fun. We have a bunch of different performers and speakers and anyway, a lot of tantalizing ideas.
We'll go and open your Zoom room, and thanks for blessing us with your presence on your birthday. How special it's been to have you with us, and we'll see you in 30 minutes.
Okay, that sounds good. Good to see everyone.
Lots of love,
Thank
Rick.
you all so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Going to come to Mum and then to Richard. Was it Richard Buckley after that? There was Noel and Bob just said something about what a team there is on the other side. Some of you may have seen this picture. Some of you may not have yet, but this was posted by Nina Patrick. Have a look at that. Now that is just, I didn't know that these two knew each other. And last week, when we learnt that Avon was in a critical condition, the story of Barbara's passing was, I mean, she just was so powerful. It became so powerful and omnipresent. So the two of them together, I'm sure form a major cosmic tipping point. But this picture is just so beautiful, so beautiful. So I just wanted to presence that. Okay, Mum, over to you.
Goodness, Ben, after that photo.
And we struggle with your audio a bit. I don't know if you can make it clearer anyway. No, now that's gone completely.
Oh.
There you are. Try now.
Okay. Ben, I won't be long, but
That's better.
you've already mentioned about Avon being so passionate and encouraging us as a family about the Mungo story. And she was just extraordinarily part of us using our energies in a way that we have the fortitude to continue with the work for the good of the Indigenous people. The second part of that is, Ben, about 2 years ago, Avon rang here to speak to Jim and I, about 2 years ago. And she wanted to convey to Jim and I about Ben. And when someone mentioned, I think Fumi mentioned about the godmother, here was Avon being a true godmother to you, Ben, to convince, not me, because I'm a big part of it, regardless of whether I kind of knew you were going to go forward with all this or not, but your father was doubtful. And I think Avon was just ticked the box for that one for him. So here she was ringing Australia to speak to your parents, Ben, and in the role of godmother. And ever since then, as everyone has been saying, there are personal things in the chat from Avon to me that are just so beautiful. So thank you, Ben.
That's amazing. That's amazing, isn't it? That she would take the time to call someone on the other side of the world. I wonder, that says a lot about an extraordinary model Avon is for supporting and loving. We talked a lot, John, about how amazing she was in empowering everybody and supporting them and being their cheerleaders. And it was always so private and intimate. It was, she would talk people up in a public sense, but it was the intimate text messages and conversations and little messages that, were so, and still are so profound.
She left voicemail. For
voicemail.
Me. She left a voicemail. I have it. I think I shared it with you, Becky. It was so beautiful, calling about Summer's dad. Just, I'm a text and a call away. I'm here. That's what she left us with. Just those little extra efforts to be kind.
David or Deborah, did she ever marry? Did she ever have family of her own?
She had been married once before, no children of her own, but she had been married.
Okay, yeah, wonderful.
She had a challenging life, and she, through everything that happened to her, including these multiple accidents that left her unable to leave the house and in great pain, through all of that, she just focused like a laser beam on empowering other people to work for peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was so reticent to take the limelight. It was yeah, what an extraordinary humility. Richard Buckley, great to have you with us. Richard, good to see you.
What a wonderful sharing of honoring of Avon, who has been in our lives for almost 40 years. And she is with my wife very much so. She left again a wonderful phone message about 10 days ago. So encouraging, again, like what everybody's saying, solely encouraging both of us for the work that we're doing. The thing that really struck me is that I wanted to add to this is that, and it's interesting bringing up the godmother and then her love, is that, you know, I started working with her in the early 80s on a project called Peace Child.
People thought I
And
was selling drugs. I was.
what? That was
Sorry, Richard. Go ahead. Keep going. There's just a background noise.
Oh, no, it wasn't selling drugs, let me tell you. It was pretty different. But we were working with like 10-year-old kids, and it struck me that those kids, you know, through the UN are now 50 years old. And hopefully what they learned being exposed with Avon and her love of children, she is the one that really moved the UN into children as peace ambassadors. And David, I'm sure, can tell you much, much more about it. But in the early days, she was the voice that was saying that children are the ones that are going to bring peace to the earth. So I just want to honor her vision and understanding the role of children in terms of how to build a better world. That's all I wanted to say, Ben.
I'll just add to that, that she was always about the intergenerational, and from the very beginning, we would have a youth on the board of directors of Pathways. And we have some wonderful youth today. But yeah, absolutely, you're right on, Rick.
And Becky, you attended this Peace Child?
I am absolutely, like, I'm 51 years old. And when I was in junior high school, there was a program that came to my junior high school called the Peace Child. And I was so moved by it. Like, it completely resonated with me. And this past year, I've Googled multiple times, like Peace Child, Peace Children. I'm like trying to find what that program was, because it really planted a seed in me. And now, and I'm just like, I'm in just joyful shock to know, but of course our godmother had something to do with it, and I can't wait to learn more about what happened with that program, because I remember the little colorful drawing of this little child holding like a flower, or holding something up like a balloon or something. I have like visuals of this program that was so moving. I remember sitting there crying, and other people around me like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, no, it spoke to my heart as an adolescent. And so I'm just gobsmacked. Thank you for sharing that, Rick.
Wow.
So there's living proof that Avon's alive in the next generation's heart. That's wonderful, Becky. Thank you.
Ben, may I say something?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. You know, I really wasn't going to originally share this, but I feel like I can with this group. 1989 was a harsh year. All years have been a harsh year for me, but that was definitely a harsh year. And I was in deep, deep meditation and deep, deep prayer when, for me, God came to me and made a very clear statement that whatever you have as the image of God works for me. That a day of peace was needed. A day of peace was what was wanted. And I just sat there and went, no, I'm not doing it. But I did some research and I learned what Avon had been working on, and how much she was trying to do with the UN and everything, and the struggles that she was going through. And I definitely, from a distance, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people also that are unknown, faceless, that are behind supporting her supporting the work that was being done, supporting the love and the distinction. And there's nothing stronger for me than the wave that occurred this year was definitely this wave of peace for her to throw. And that's what she was even speaking on herself when she spoke. And there's just two words that I can say for Avon. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah, wow. This story just grows. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie, for presencing that. And thank you, Becky and Rick, for that extraordinary, glorious story. The stories are going to continue to grow in wonder. And I had a privilege, as I said before, of working with Avon on the road up to Peace Weekend this year and getting her to step into keynote speaker and role on the Saturday Night Alive show and got to hear some of her childhood experiences and journeys and stories and visions and her mission and where it comes from and what she shared on the October 6th by saying that, she knew that she would never really live to see it fulfilled. And yet we can feel that power and that thrust and that velocity with us here. It's remarkable how blessed we are to be here together and holding space and feeling this together. So grateful to everybody for joining today. It's been a remarkable, soulful, uplifting, nourishing time together. Does anyone else have anything on their heart to say before we maybe close? Nina, was that a hand?
Ben, or Becky, I just wanted to say that in the mid '80s, the Peace Children's Chorus came to my studio and made wings. They had a bus full of children and parents chaperone, and they all came in. I don't know if I can find the video of that, but they sang, and my studio was in a corporate setting, and we had the doors open, and you could hear the Peace Children's chorus resonating through the whole building. It was the most miraculous thing. And I'm not sure if that's what you were talking about, Becky, but it just brought back this incredible memory in the mid '80s of the Peace Children coming. And somewhere they have all of the wings that they have somewhere in the world. They each have their wings. That's it.
Beautiful, Linda. Wow. What a beautiful community, beautiful hearts, beautiful missions coming together in a line. This was, I just want to show you this, John, while we're getting ready to close. Just give me, still learning to drive my Macintosh. Here we go. And we'll get ready to close this. But literally yesterday, this was given to me. And sorry. And then we'll finish with a little bit of music that Avon loves so much. So, Brother John, people have seen this on the call today, but this is the Peace Week dove that has been created. And you'll recognize the shape as the Holy Land Living Water dove, but the images have changed, and you can just really reflect on many of the images that are in there. And if you look in the heart of it, in the wing there, you can see Avon and Martin Luther King together, which, Ayana had done this just, without consultation, where I just gave us some direction on what sort of images to use. And I did want Avon in the dove, but to have them looking at each other like that is just so beautiful, so beautiful. So that was yesterday. And, her embrace of Peace Week and her support and encouragement, enthusiasm for it over the next 2 years is really, really powerful for me. And so, yeah, it's the timing is quite exquisite. The timing is quite exquisite. So on we go, folks. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we listen to a little bit of music? We're going to finish the music we started at the beginning today which is the incredible Calliope's Dream from Kristen Hoffman and Michael Fitzpatrick, which was commissioned for Peace Weekend 2020 at the culmination of the Caravan of Unity. So we're about 2/3 of the way through that track. So let's close. I'll only share the sound. We can keep the visuals on each other, but let's close with Michael and Kristen.
Perfect, you came for that. You highlighted us and Linda, yeah.
We got Highland.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I took pictures.
Farewell, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. It was
Thank
beautiful.
you. It was so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you,
Wow.
dear one.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Devotional heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you all. Aloha.
We love you all.
We love you all.